Kratos versus Doomslayer, two of the most unstoppable forces in all of fiction, battling against the gods above and the evils below, but they're facing off against each other. Well, who's coming out on top? And really, is it even gonna be close? Let's get into it. Born in Sparta, Kratos is a demigod son of Zeus and was once a soldier and Spartan general. He worked under Ares' command, serving the god of war, until he accidentally killed his wife and daughter under Ares' order. The ghost of Sparta renounced his service to the god of war, eventually killing him and ascending to true godhood himself, becoming the new god of war. And from there, Kratos continued on his deicide, claiming revenge against his father Zeus and all the Olympian gods who had betrayed him. After following through on his vengeance, Kratos left to Norway in the world of the Norse gods. And of course, war and fighting followed him there too. Now, Kratos isn't just a great character, he's also just an absolute beast. He is so freaking powerful. And there is a difference between gameplay Kratos and lore Kratos. Like in the gameplay, we've seen Kratos struggle to lift some rocks. He gets hurt by swords or arrows or random skeleton warriors. Sometimes he can't even open certain chests. Even when he's literally killing gods, it doesn't necessarily feel that earth-shattering, especially when you compare it to some of the stuff going on in the Marvel universe. But that's why you have to understand the lore of Kratos in the God of War universe, because that's how you'll see just what a beast Kratos truly is. Let me explain the God of War cosmology here for a second, as there are basically three different power groups you need to know about: primordials, titans, and gods. In the beginning, before anything was, there were the primordials. These beings waged war on each other before the very concept of time existed. And out of this war came the Earth. And not just the Earth, but the whole universe itself. I mean, they were throwing punches around and literally creating the Big Bang. That's insane. And what's even crazier? Kratos killed some of them. Like Gaia, Mother Earth, the first being to ever exist. Kratos killed her. Thanatos, the primordial personification of death, and responsible for helping to create the universe. Kratos killed him. The very concept of death. And Kratos killed him. Then there are the Titans, the spawns of the primordials, like Kronos, king of the Titans, 16,000 feet tall, 7 million tons. And when this Titan tried to crush Kratos with his fingers, Kratos was able to hold him off and push him back. That's like holding back millions of tons, billions of tons of force. It's an absolutely insane showing. Kronos has had the same universe-shaking fights against primordials, but he wasn't able to fight and kill Kratos. And Kratos did it again. This time he was fighting against Atlas, a titan who's roughly just as strong as Kronos and is tasked with holding the sky on his shoulders. Atlas tried to squish Kratos just like Kronos did, but Kratos was able to hold it off and push him back, just like he did with Kronos. Wait. Hold on, let me make sure you get that. Atlas is the strongest titan in God of War. It required the might of both Hades and Poseidon to stop him. He could hold the entire cosmos on his shoulders and prevent it from falling and collapsing. And in God of War, the sky and the entire cosmos has been confirmed a few times to be literally infinite and limitless. Atlas is performing the same feat as when Superman held up a book of infinite pages, or when Hercules held the literal sky. simply holding up infinity. Yet he still failed to crush Kratos. And Kratos is also just a fraction of his size, too. Then there are the times where Kratos fought against gods, and specifically some pretty powerful Norse gods, like Thor. Thor is so strong and so powerful that his battle with Jormungandr splintered the tree Yggdrasil, and this is what it looks like when a tree is splintered. But Yggdrasil is so much more than just a tree. It's a construct that transcends space and time and supports all of creation with its existence, holding the infinite universes that are housed within Norse mythos. Thor splintered that tree with his fight with Jormungandr, and sent Jormungandr backwards through time with a punch, back before even his own birth. This is the guy that Kratos fought against, and is the guy that Kratos was able to beat and overpower by the end of the game. And not just that, but defeating gods like Hades, and ripping out Hades' soul, defeating Baldur, a guy who can knock out the world serpent with just 3 punches, and defeat even Zeus and Odin themselves, beating literal universal and Skyfather level beings by himself. He truly is the ultimate god killer. Doom Guy, also known as the Doom Marine or Doomslayer, is one of the Earth's toughest and mightiest warriors, who single-handedly fights against the armies of Hell. In the end of Doom 64, he entered Hell and closed the gateway to the living world in hopes the Earth will be saved, at the cost of Doom Guy having to fight demons for all of eternity. Countless centuries later, through some serious levels of training and experience, he's grown much stronger, to the point where even the strongest demons in existence fear him as the Doomslayer. The Doomslayer is stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human, easily being superhuman. He's able to tear demons apart with his bare hands, absolutely obliterating them with his punches. And he's even done this against the toughest and strongest demons out there, Hell Knights and Cyber Demons and Barons of Hell, all being said to be more powerful than anything on Earth and even invulnerable to harm. And Doomslayer is wrecking them with his bare hands. And it's not just going up against demons. He's even strong enough to knock over bridges with 1 punch, shatter several tons of stone, obliterate steel doors, or send massive blocks of metal flying across the room with a hit, easily weighing dozens and dozens of tons. Doomslayer is also pretty much nigh indestructible, especially in his Praetorian armor, and after he was enhanced even further by the Divinity Machine, having a shard of the Dark Lord's soul implanted inside of him. He can take attacks from all sorts of demons, even demons powerful enough to create massive earthquakes just by walking, and is always mostly fine afterwards. He's even been able to survive massive explosions of Argent energy, with Argent energy being described as a boundless power source that gives out infinite energy, and an explosion was seen as a Category 4 dimensional event. Doomslayer took it and was just fine. Finally, Doomslayer is more than fast enough to dodge most every attack coming his way. He's fast enough to see the world moving in slow motion around him, and even just traveling through hell might include some impressive speed feats. After all, it's been described as an infinite realm with no true bottom, just an endless void. But probably Doomslayer's greatest attribute is just his sheer stamina. The guy just won't stop fighting, no matter what. Even before Doom Guy ever became the Doomslayer, he was participating in non-stop action, fighting in several demon wars back to back to back. Just a one-man army and holding back all the demons all by himself. And then he became the Doomslayer, and his stamina only got even more impressive. Now he can fight for literally forever, rampaging across hell for all of eternity, never stopping to eat, sleep, or drink, never growing tired, never actually stopped killing demons the whole time. And don't get me wrong, while Doomslayer can definitely kill demons bare-handed, he really prefers using all his many weapons. And thanks to his training with the Night Sentinels, well, it's safe to assume that Doomslayer is an absolute expert with every weapon that he carries and uses in a fight. His go-to is probably his trusty super shotgun, but it definitely doesn't just stop there. Doomslayer has powerful plasma rifles, and chain guns, and rocket launchers. Or even his chainsaw or the Sentinel hammer when he decides to get up close and personal. Doomslayer is without a doubt a one-man killing machine, one of the most powerful and deadliest warriors in all of existence. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, both of these guys have battled their way through seemingly unstoppable forces and fought against unbeatable beings. Always won. Always come out on top. And as for Kratos, while Kratos has managed to kill plenty of gods, it was really impressive that he's able to take down the big three Greek gods: Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Hades is the third most powerful god in God of War. He was even able to gobble up Atlas's soul and gain all of his power. And Atlas is one of the most powerful titans and can carry an infinite dimension on its shoulders. So the way that Hades works is that his power increases with the more souls that he devours, and Kratos fought Hades centuries after the Great War. So that means that the version of Hades that Kratos was fighting was even more powerful than when Hades fought Atlas. And yet Hades still couldn't end up devouring Kratos' soul. Instead, it ended up being the other way around, and along with it, well, Kratos gained all the other souls that Hades had eaten. Poseidon is the second most powerful god, and he was the guy who was able to take down Atlas so that Hades could come in there and gobble up his soul. We do know that he can kill a titan with just one punch. He would have even killed Gaia herself if it wasn't for Kratos, if he hadn't gotten to Poseidon first. Then last but not least, Zeus, the most powerful being in God of War. He almost killed Gaia with just one lightning bolt. His mere anger can shake the entire universe. He created the Blade of Olympus, the most powerful weapon in the universe, and used it to obliterate the Titans. It's basically like the Infinity Gauntlet. You just gotta swing it around, you just gotta use it, and every being ceases to exist against it. It's pretty freaking crazy. But then Zeus was stabbed twice with the blade and didn't die. It just made him mortal. That's how powerful Zeus is. And really, you can say the same with Odin in the Norse mythology too. Odin is the king of the Aesir. He's the father of gods like Thor and Balder. He's literally older than time itself, and he's the one responsible for creating the different realms. Like Odin battled against the first frost giant Ymir, then carved up his flesh and created 6 of the 9 realms out of his body, which are whole separate space-time continuums. According to the God of War director, Odin and Zeus are pretty much directly comparable to each other, and so that means that both of them are universal to even above universal gods. You know what? Kratos killed him. He killed Zeus too. Kratos beat all of them. Kratos is out there just consistently beating universal level beings, even beings beyond the universe, beating the very gods that were responsible for creating the universe in the first place. Problem is, you can say the same thing for the Doomslayer, battling against all the forces of hell, most importantly, battling against Davos. In the Doom universe, in the beginning, the void of nothingness was visited by the alien god known as the Father, where he stepped reality came to be, and he required a steward for the new worlds that were birthed into being. So he created Davos, a primeval god to watch over the world of Jakad and protect its people. But Davos despaired, for the people he was made to watch over withered and died, a fate that he himself could never experience. The father felt this despair and knew that Davos' attempts to make the people immortal would threaten his own creations, so Jakad was sealed away from the rest of the dimensions in existence. Davos' despair then turned into anger, and soon all Jakad was corrupted and turned into hell, with Davos becoming the devil. At least that's what the Seraphim race documents and what the Union Aerospace Corporation believes. In reality, Davos was the first being and the true creator of existence. The father, a lesser member of the Maker race, conspired against Davos and sought to use his power to birth many worlds. To do this, the father underwent a ritual to separate Davos' power from his body, leaving his consciousness in an object called a life spear. The father would go on to build new worlds and eventually live among humans as the artificial intelligence Vega, while Davos continued to rot in his prison. Eons later, when Hell's forces spilled out onto Earth, despite the depowering and exile of their leader, the Doomslayer would find Davos' life spear, resurrect him, and kill the Hell God once and for all. And yeah, Doomslayer killed Davos, the creator of everything, and that's on top of battling against all the forces of Hell for all of eternity, becoming stronger than all of Hell's forces, killing titans the size of mountains with his bare hands, and battling the icon of Sen, the strongest servant of Hell and a world eater, killing him too. But it's really killing Davos that can compare Doomslayer to Kratos. But I think there's a slight problem with this, because the way I see it, there's the primeval form of Davos, the godlike form that we see in the Codex entries, and even then, gotta remember that the book follows the lies about Davos propagated by the father, so it might not be entirely accurate. But that's where Davos gets a lot of his high-end scaling, saying that he created Hell and him are one, with Hell being multiversal. But even still, that's not the Davos that the Doomslayer fought and killed. He killed his resurrected form. This Davos has been depowered ever since his resurrection by the hands of the Doomslayer, and looks like he lacks most of the primeval form's abilities. He has to wear a suit of battle armor, fights with sword and shield, and it's this form that's killed and defeated by the Slayer. And you just can't scale Davos at his highest to Davos in his resurrected form. His resurrected form was said to be weaker. On top of that, a lot of his universal to multiversal scaling comes from him creating and ruling Hell, not like shattering universes and multiverses during actual fights. So with all that being said, I think Kratos' god-killing feats are just better and more impressive. He's battled against gods at the relative height of their powers. They have all the same universal, multiversal creation feats that Davos has. Most importantly, the same universe, multiverse power shows up in their fights. Like, just take a look at his fight with Thor. Now, Thor is powerful enough to shake and splinter the World Tree, one of his fights in the past, with the World Tree being a true hyperconstruct able to hold literal universes in its branches. And Thor shattered it. And then Kratos came along, overpowered Thor, and beat Thor in a fight. So actual universe, multiverse power in a fight, and Kratos is overpowering it. It's a good fight, and it's a close fight, and just through sheer willpower, Doomslayer could win it. But for my money, well, I have to go with the ghost of Sparta. Kratos wins.